Good afternoon again from the Hearts at War project. Just have popped down today to this property here, which has got a particularly interesting First World War story attached to it. Now, this is the home of Private Percy Buck of the 1st Battalion Hertfordshire Regiment, and Percy served with the Herts out on the Western Front from late 1916 and was involved in the infamous Battle of St Julian on the 31st July 1917, when the Hertfordshire Regiment were all but annihilated. And the reason we decided to come to Percy's home address is it was actually at this very property, through that very letterbox there, that on the 3 months after the attack, Percy's wife, Mrs. Bertha Buck, was to find out exactly what had happened to her husband. Percy was reported missing on that day, 31st July 1917, one of 479 casualties out of 620 men that started the attack. And nothing was known of him. All Mrs. Buck knew was that Percy was reported wounded in action. And it was this very letter that dropped through this letterbox right in front of us, 3 months after the attack, that finally let Mrs. Buck know what had actually happened to her husband Percy. And as you can see, it's actually signed by a Gefreiter Joseph Wilczek. That's to say that Corporal Wilczek, a German soldier, had actually found Percy dying on the battlefield on the day after the attack. He'd been mortally wounded and was lying in a shell hole. Now, the fascinating thing is that Percy had managed to find the time and the effort to take a photograph of his wife and child out of his pocket and write on the back, "Whoever finds this, please return it to my wife." And to his credit, that's exactly what Corporal Wilczek did. He took it back to his trench, translated it, and sent it on to the International Red Cross in Geneva, in Switzerland. And from there, the letter was forwarded, and it was through that German soldier's act of compassion that Mrs. Buck was finally able to find out, albeit sad news, at least she would know that her husband was never coming home. And that occurred at this very spot, in Balliol Road in Hitchin, and a really touching moment in the carnage of what was going on around St Julian that day. So we thought we'd pop down and just show you Percy's home address and the same address where that letter arrived.